La,
Okay.
la, la. You don't hold accountability to my pain. You're being a Karen.
Hello, beautiful people. Well, many people are demonetized for asking the very same question. Where are the kids? Where are the kids? These very same kids who are right now part of a constitutional monarchy in the line of succession, and one of them, which is on the top 6 of the line of succession. And Harry's with his kids being counts. Harry is 5th in line to the throne, and next regent in line. And there's a reason why he's looking for a home, even if it's a rented one in the UK. And it's not because he wants to be away from Meghan. YouTube channels are being demonetized. Accounts have been canceled completely for questioning, even daring to question the many different stories surrounding the births of Archie and Elizabeth, like Meghan Small says. By the way, Meghan Small's channel has been demonetized, but it would help if you go watch her videos. She will be doing lives just to keep her up. So please go and subscribe to her channel to make sure that her subscriber account is still up, and view her numbers, view her videos, because they're amazing. So yeah, she's been ordered to take down the videos where she calls into question Harry and Meghan Markle's stories, many varying stories about how those two children came into the world. So let me see, I don't know if you can hear me. I'm going to put this up a little bit higher. So the palace got it wrong. The palace said that Meghan went into labor at a certain time, and then according to Harry, she had already given birth. I mean, the stories that were being put out is that it was a very intensive labor and that it went on all night, which is why Harry needed to order from Nando's. Now, I've lived in the UK. Any of you beautiful people in the United Kingdom know that Nando's is not open past midnight, I believe. I think they're even closed at 10. Now, when we get to the book, and this is a woman who overshares everything. This is a woman who, I mean, she made sure she flicked that coat so you would see her pregnancy. So clearly she wanted people to know or show her belly, and, you know, she's flicking that thing off like there's no tomorrow. That coat flicking is famous. The handling of the baby, the pictures, I mean, so clearly, if this woman was making a big deal out of it with her square bellies, with her squatting down with the closed legs at 8 months pregnant, with the belly being one size when she goes into an event and coming out with a completely different size in an event. And I can tell you that bellies don't deflate when you're pregnant. They only increase. Siri supervising me, making sure that I'm doing the video. And yes, those are toys there, but she still chews my foot. But see, she's hard at work supervising me. And then we have the palace putting out the easel, saying that, you know, that Meghan had gone into labor. And then they apologized, the first time ever. They apologized for getting it wrong, something that shouldn't be wrong. Because, and I'll tell you why. I'll tell you why I know that the palace is complicit. By law. You know that the bodyguards that Harry and Meghan Markle had when they were working members of the royal family, when they were full-time working members of the royal family, they are from the government. They were duty bound to contact the palace, Buckingham Palace, to report that Meghan Markle was into labor for security reasons. So, for example, Harry's saying, please don't say anything because, you know, we want to keep it secret. Even if Harry and Meghan had said that, Buckingham Palace would have been notified immediately in case of any emergency, like it happened with the Duchess of Edinburgh, Sophie, when she had that emergency. As soon as a royal lady goes into labor, Buckingham Palace is immediately, I mean, immediately notified that they're going to the hospital. This is no ifs, ands, or buts. So the palace would have been notified immediately, because these men are military, these men are protection. They would have never defied the queen's orders nor the government orders for any reasons. So palace knew when that child was being born. And this is one of the many things, and actually the most important thing that people miss out or they don't understand. That security, the bodyguards, would have informed immediately Buckingham Palace and senior officers and private secretaries and all the security staff. They would have been notified the moment, the second Meghan Markle said, we're going to the hospital, I'm giving birth. Because they're duty bound to do that. There is absolutely no way that a soldier of the caliber of the royal security protection would hide that from the queen, from their superiors, from anybody, because security arrangements have to be made to take them there and establish a safety perimeter, even inside the hospital and everything. So the palace was aware, fully aware, knows when Archie was born, if indeed that child was born in the United Kingdom. The only way they will not know the details is if that child was not born in the United Kingdom. Why am I bringing this up? Where are those bloody kids? Elon Musk takes his child to Formula One. I can tell you, when Henrik was, that around that age, 3, 4, he loved cars. He loved cars. And people say, oh, the noise. No, they put these big ear things, in their ears, and they listen to it, and they just love it. But you see Harry arriving like a big rock star without Meghan Markle, because Meghan Markle was avoiding Rory McIlroy like the plague. Siri, kid there. Because of course, we know that Meghan Markle didn't want to risk her past lovers being dragged about it, because she has projected and lied so much to Harry about being chased. All the stories about her cheating being untrue. I don't know why Siri's so needy right now. Siri, ¿qué quieres, mi amor? So yes, Elon Musk, one of the richest men on earth, can go to the races with his kid, share a bonding experience. Look at the picture. Yet Harry can't do the same with his own kid. He can't do the same with his own kid because he's a narcissist. He wants to be the center of attention. He's been despair to his brother for far too long. Now he's enjoying the protagonism, being the main attraction. He knows, Siri, I swear to God, he knows that had he gone with Archie, Archie would have been the story. And just like Meghan, he can't share the spotlight. This man is not a father. Where are these children? I think really, people, it's time to call CPS, because they're never there. These children's very young lives, if they exist, have been spent without their parents while they have such an extended family. Because Doria is nowhere to be found either. Doria is nowhere to be found either. These children have been deprived of any family, extended family bond, extended family protection, extended family relationships, while Meghan Markle is around the globe gallivanting, because we see her pop up everywhere without the kids. They take vacations, not as a family. Oh, it's so nice to have a family unit. Having kids, it's fun. It's a lot of fun. I remember I used to go out with Henrik and every country, I'm sorry, I have something in my eye. Every time we went to a country, the first thing I would do is I would check what was fun to do there for him, and all the morning would be dedicated to him. And then in the afternoon, we'd do something for me, but always orientated towards involving him, okay? I never left him with nannies or babysitters or not, maybe because I was too jealous and I wanted him to adore me, just me. But no, it's just because it was my son. It was my responsibility. I felt, that I could do it. Nothing wrong with having a nanny, or anything like that. But for me, that was my preference. So we see Elon Musk at the races with his kid clearly enjoying, proud of showing his son. You know, Harry's kid, he could have brought Archie with him, and he could have asked the press to, you know, like pixelate the face of the child if he didn't want to show Archie's face. You know, if he didn't want to show Archie's face, he could have said, just pixelate his face, please. I do not want you to show my son's face. But they could have been a wonderful bonding moment. Didn't Harry say that he grew up isolated, that his father never did anything, that it was a joy to take Archie around Montecito on a bike ride, you know, something that he never did, which we now know it's a lie. Instead, I mean, just now, they went to Dusseldorf. From Dusseldorf, they went to Portugal to take a romantic break. From the romantic break, from Portugal, they went to, what was it that they went? Supposedly back to California, and then to New York. And from New York, they went to another island, supposedly to take another romantic break. And now Harry is in Houston. And he's not a working royal. These are not things that he needs to do. And he has the Formula One thing there that he could have. Can you imagine? But again, he's another narcissist because he knows the story would have been Archie. Harry with Archie. And Meghan can't handle that Harry and Archie, any of her kids, are bigger story than she is. Harry didn't bring his kid, as I said, like Elon or like any other celebrities there that were there with their children. He could ask, pixelate his face because I really don't want you to show it. And they would have done it. They would have done it. But no, and it would have been wonderful for Archie. I mean, my son, little boys love that kind of stuff. And for those of you who say the noise thing, they put those earmugs or earplugs or whatever in there so they don't worry about that. Here it is, Elon Musk proudly sharing a very unique experience. Harry couldn't do that. What experiences has he formed with his child? He spent most of Archie's life, if he exists, away from the kid, taking romantic holidays, breaks from their very young kids that they claim to have. And again, when I'm talking to you about this, keep in mind that the Royal Police Protection Officers are mandated by law to notify their superiors in Buckingham Palace when a royal lady goes into labor, or the wife of a royal goes into labor, especially Harry's wife. Okay? Because there are security protocols that have to be put in place in that hospital in order to secure. So it's not like Harry can tell the bodyguards, shh, don't tell anybody. Of course not. They can't do that. Because they have to send a crew to secure the place. They're not, these people, police protection officers, are loyal to the Queen. They're sworn oath to the Queen. If anything happens and they don't notify their superiors or anybody, then, you know, they get in trouble, because if something happens, they are legally responsible. They can be held criminally responsible. They lose their careers. So I just want you to understand that there is absolutely zero, minus 0.0000 chance that Palace would have not been notified if Meghan had gone into labor. Catherine, when she goes into labor, even Eugenie, there are security measures put in place at the hospital. You know, that's just the way it is. On top of the Royal Police Protection Officers, they notify, listen, this woman is going into labor, and, you know, they send somebody, they send a crew to the hospital to secure, to do the things. When Catherine, so there's no way, there is absolutely no way. My point is that there's no way, and I want you to keep this in mind. When Catherine gives birth, they have to call, secure the hospital, sweep it, make sure everything is safe. They have to do that. That's what I want you to keep in mind. So if Archie had been born in the United Kingdom, Palace would have known. We know that Meghan spent a lot of time. She took so many trips, guys. You know only of like 14 trips that they did, including their royal tours, but she did many, many more trips to the United States and Toronto. We know she was with Jessica Mulroney in Toronto when she wrote that skanky letter to her father. But she did quite a few trips without people knowing, because they can't fly under the radar. We know that. To the United States. And then we have Doria appearing 2-3 weeks prior to the baby's birth, Archie's birth. Okay? That very, as I said, that very fishy picture of the birth certificate of the birth of the not baptism, which the metadata indicated that I had been taken 2 weeks prior to the child being born. Harry saying, "Oh, it's incredible how much they changed in 2 weeks." It is something that they think we're stupid, and people saying, "Oh, they're gonna disclose it next year," because they're hoping that by next year we're gonna have forgotten about it, like I've said before. They're hoping that by next year, oh, this thing is gonna blow over. Meghan and Harry are gonna be back at the royal family, and everything is gonna be fine. So please keep in mind, and I really I stress this point because apparently nobody stresses this point for some reason. Protection officers, royal protection officers in the United Kingdom would have immediately notified their superiors that they were going to the hospital because Meghan Markle was in labor. It would have been up to Harry and Meghan to decide to ask the palace when to say, but it's usually said immediately. Okay, so the reason why the palace issued that statement saying that the Duchess had gone into labor at 5:26 in the morning is because that's when the security officers reported to the palace that they were on the way to the hospital. And then, oops, we made a mistake. She actually had given birth, which means that the police protection officers failed in their duty and they're criminally responsible because it's a huge, I mean, you have no idea what a huge breach of thing that is. Because they have to report it. So somebody's lying here. So either Buckingham Palace is lying, or if Buckingham Palace is lying. They know when that kid was born, or the police protection officers have been fired, and I mean their careers are destroyed when they fail to do something like this. Because if something had happened, like I don't know if you remember, I think I said this before, when Sophie, the Duchess, she was Sophie, the Duchess of Edinburgh, you know, she found herself seriously in danger. I mean, they had to call Prince Edward to come to her aid because she almost lost her life. But for a royal to give birth, it's not, I'm going to show up and pop up. No, there's security things in place and everybody's notified about it. So either that kid was imported from the United States, which is why Meghan was traveling so much there to visit the surrogate and to ensure all the documents were put in place. And then Doria brought the basket to London. And everybody's complicit. And this is why people say, why don't they say there's nothing wrong with surrogacy? Nobody's saying there's anything wrong with surrogacy. Had they been honest about it, had they been upfront about it, had they said, you know, she can't give birth to this child. And because they can make exceptions. If informed, then Parliament would have made an exception. They can't do that. They can't do that. It's in the law. They can make a dispensation. And it maybe would have been something great for Meghan Markle to promote surrogacy because of, you know, if she was a geriatric. But of course, she wants to be a youth thing and she wants to follow the footsteps of all royal ladies. Instead, they chose fraud. On top of really contacting CPS if those children exist in the United States, because I mean they didn't have to notify Lily because by then they were not full-time working members of the royal family and they're in another country. And now that doctor that supposedly delivered Lily shut down her practice without any notice to anybody. And according to Harry, that child was born in less than half an hour because he said in his book that coming, including the trip back and forth to the hospital, it took 2 hours for them from the time they left until the time they came back with a baby. This is the travel time. Meghan Markle humping a ball. Humping the ball didn't have any effect. So they put her in hot water to induce her in the bath. That didn't work. They gave her an epidural. And then they induced the birth. They cleaned that kid. They cleaned her up, they pushed her back in the car and then went back home. And then Harry ordered Nando's in the middle of this. And this is within 2 hours. And they claimed that the child was born at 5:26 a.m. in the morning, which means that they left around 3:20, wherever they were, Frogmore Cottage. And Nando's is closed because I live there. And we all who lived in England know that Nando's is closed at that time. And we have to believe what he says because he's a witness there. Oh, on top of that, he inhaled all the laughing gas. We have to believe what he says because he's a witness. He wrote it in his biography. This is in black and white. This is not subject to, oh, he thought it is his truth. No, that's what he's stating in black and white because he was a witness to the birth. And, you know, of all the royal children, because the law says that the public, the witnessing statement is stating that with the signatures of the doctors who witnessed the child being born, being delivered from the body of the woman, the only one from the royal family in the modern history that cannot be gotten is Meghan, and neither the baptism, for some reason, because we know that metadata in the baptism picture didn't work. So on top of all of these oddities, it is not, and forget about Meghan's square belly, the belly flopping. This is a woman who cannot keep her mouth shut about anything. We know that Meghan is a leaky ship. She leaks everything. And she was desperate for people to know that she was pregnant, to the point that she even said it during Eugenie's wedding. But now she's being coy about who the doctor was, to respect the privacy of the doctor. When has this woman respected anybody's privacy? I mean, Harry going into this petty shit of Catherine. Oh, she didn't want to share this lip gloss. First of all, Meghan is a skank. I wouldn't want to share it either. But other than that, they were not that close. And I'm pretty sure that by then, Meghan was already trashing everybody. And Catherine was, you know, had enough. Everybody knew about her. So while YouTubers are being canceled, why Twitter accounts were being canceled, while we are censored, and we know that Parliament writes to social media demanding that channels be shut down or demonetized. We know that because of Russell Brand, what they did to Russell Brand. Whatever you agree or disagree with that idiot, because he gives me the creeps, not because he's creepy or whatever, he's done anything wrong. It's just that he doesn't look clean, you know. He would do well to take a bath once in a while. But we know that Parliament does that. We know that Meghan made a phone call and Piers Morgan lost his job. And she's done it with many other people. So while Elon Musk is able to share a bonding, father-son bonding time with his kid, Harry is depriving his son of these experiences. For real. Because no matter how much I make crap on King Charles, but he was a decent father. Even Princess Diana said so. You can see him riding bike with him. They would take him to Balmoral, you know, they would do the obligatory pictures. There now videos are surfacing on how they play and everything like that. Nothing like that with Harry. Those two children allegedly are 2 and 4. And the extended family has been cut off. So it's not, and the only one there is Doria, the jailbird, with no moral compass. What family values is Doria gonna teach those children when she dumped her own daughter? She abandoned Meghan, or she was in prison, or whatever you want to call it. This is a woman who, according to Tom Bauer, was a drug dealer on set. This is a woman who does not promote unity among family. Instead, she promotes division. So where are those kids? Why is the palace again? Oh, next year they're going to reveal. No, they're hoping that by next year we're going to forget about it. And the longer it goes, the worse it gets, because then it's harder to remove it. They're working deals with Harry and Meghan Markle to bring him back into the fold. Harry is gallivanting all over the place, being a narcissistic pig, because he didn't want to bring his son, because he knew that his son would take the spotlight. And people say, oh, Harry and Archie, you know, sharing his bond, it would have been such a great story, you know, I'm bringing my kid here because this is something I never got to do. And instead the story is that Harry went go-karting with a Formula One guy. Meghan is absent because, of course, Rory McIlroy is there, and she doesn't want to run into maybe 1 or 2 or 3 former clients or lovers, whatever it is. The point of the matter is that there's too many irregularities about those children. Palace knew, because the police protection officers did their job. So Palace knows the truth, and they're hiding it. And they're still covering up for it. And the ones paying the price for all this mess are those children. Those children are going to be so messed up, just as messed up as Jada's and Will Smith's children. And the royal family are allowing this to happen. Meghan has isolated those children. She barely spends time with them. She only parades them when she needs a photo up, if those are her kids. But what do you guys think? Where are those children? Why didn't Harry take his son like Elon Musk did? Why didn't he? Why are channels like ours, who are trying to find the truth, we are entitled to know the truth because those children are in the line of succession. I've said this before. Somebody should start a UK parliamentary petition demanding Parliament to make public the document with the doctor's signature testifying that those children were born out of Meghan Markle's body, to clarify that, to make the baptism details public. The public is entitled to do that in order to make sure that those children belong in the line of succession, and that if Harry and Meghan should be given the choice of either, and the monarchy, they either make those documents public and verify without a doubt, or they have to remove those children from the line of succession and cannot have any titles until that matter is clarified. They have to answer whether or not the police protection officers failed to do their duty to report to the monarchy, to the queen, to their superior officers that Harry and Meghan were on their way to the hospital, and they broke, because that would mean they did a huge security breach. They have to clarify that if the police protection officers actually didn't do their job. The public has to know. And Harry is the worst father on earth, because claiming that, I didn't even ride a bike, and then he's riding alone around Montecito on a bike without his kid. For the 4th of July, you see that picture of Meghan and Harry and stuff like that. You see him standing way in the back, and Meghan sitting in front with like a kid who looks like Archie, and then a little crying girl. But Harry's nowhere. It's like there's no bonding. I think enough with swindling, enough with the fraud. That's all they've been doing. They've been defrauding. So, I get death threats for my school. My little school that I feed kids, that I teach kids that they have no other way to go. I get death threats for that because I'm asking for answers that I'm entitled to. And by the way, I am Canadian. I am entitled to that. People are entitled to the truth because the monarchy in England has huge contacts worldwide. It's not just, Charles is the head of state. The monarch is the head of state of many nations. And they have relationships with heads of states of other countries. I mean, what do you guys think?